Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Mark DeBrincat, the Good News Doctor, and we are coming to you from Colorado and Florida today. As you can see, I have a few guest speakers with me today. Today's talk is on nutrition, and so I brought no better than my mom and dad, Ray and Sue DeBrincat, and I have my son, Danny, here. So we're literally sitting here with 3 generations of this amazing product that we're going to be talking about today as changing all 3 of our lives. And of course, Danny is going to be getting married this summer, and hopefully within a year or a few years, we'll be having some grandchildren. So we will literally have 4 generations of Shaklee beings, which is it's just such an amazing life. And you know, I know you guys do webinars and stuff all the time with your business, and you know, we do webinars all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's been so many years since we've ever done anything together. So in this spirit of everybody's home, digging in deep, finding out what is really important to my life, and you know, I think a common denominator amongst everybody is our health. And more than ever, when we're seeing the world be so sick and this virus that's just a pandemic around the world right now, my heart goes out to all those people that are affected and that maybe not getting the medical care they need because of the chaos, and especially all the caregivers and the doctors and the people that are on that front line that keep going in and serving and putting themselves in harm's way just to help people. So this is a time that like never before that we see communities and cultures, you know, get together and share information on how we can survive and thrive during these great times of chaos and really a lot of uncertainty out there when it comes to our futures. And so the one thing that we can count on is what we do for our own self and our own health and our own immunity. This week is talking about things that we do to supercharge our immunity. And so I thought no better than to talk to the people that taught me all of these things as a child, and you know, and having to go through some great pains as a child, not being able to eat sugar and enriched flour and sodas.
We were so mean to you.
Where all my friends got all that Twinkies and all that fun stuff. And so, you know, I was like mad at the time, but you know, as I got older, I looked at all my friends, they would get sick all the time. You know, and they get the flu several times a year, and they'd be missing school here and there, and they're sick again, and on this medication and that medication for these just common colds and stuff. And I thought, you know, we never get sick. And then,
and if you want to do a little disclaimer.
Oh, yes, let me start with the disclaimer. I'm sorry, I got all excited, went right into it. So our whole series here this week is, and especially today, as every day, is really designed to just inform the listeners on some really amazing things out there that help us be the best people that we can be. So I have used certain products, like today's product. It's been 43 years that every day of my life since then, I have used and consumed these products. And it's helped not just keep me strong, healthy, and so forth, but it's allowed me to overcome some great traumas and great struggles throughout of our life. So it's always much easier to maintain a healthy body than it is to build health in a body. So all of the things that we're going to be discussing this week have not been evaluated by the FDA in the terms of which I'm expressing it. These are my personal experiences and my life of sharing and using these products with other people. So in no way or shape are we trying to recruit or sell anything during this series. We're strictly here to inform the public on some amazing things out there that we just take for granted because we use them all the time and they're part of our daily lives. And I just assume that everybody knows about these things, but when we find out that people think staying healthy is washing my hands all the time and that's it. You know, there's a lot more than just not being exposed to the things in our environment. We have to change the environment inside our bodies, build health like it never counted like ever before. This is so important for us to take charge of our lives, of our health, and do the things to not only regulate our immune system, but boost it at the times that we need. So today we're going to be talking about a company called Shaklee. Now, Dr. Shaklee was a chiropractor also back in the early 1900s, and it wasn't until he was 65 years old and retiring from chiropractic, which he also had 5 other doctrines, but it wasn't until the time that he retired that he launched Shaklee Corporation as we know it today. And it has been around for over 65 years. So any company that lasts more than the first year, it's impressive because so many companies come and go all the time. But to have a company that's based on solid research, and that's a big thing that I learned over the time. There's a lot of products out there that go on hype and so forth, and testimonies only, and it really has to be based on science. And so the thing that I've always loved about Shaklee is it was always recognized by our government as a food source, like a whole food source, not like isolates and other food companies or other nutritional companies and pharmaceutical companies. This was taking the whole food, takes the water and the fiber out and gives you all of that, the good, but no, the unknown. And it allows us to, really take those building blocks and build healthy cells. Like you guys always taught me, it's two components to being healthy. Number one, making sure that you're getting your proteins, vitamins, and minerals, the things that are your building blocks for your cells. But at the same time, you have to be conscious about avoiding toxins and not putting unnecessary things in your body to make it so hard for your body to get it out of the body. And so I want to just, let you guys kind of go back in time a little bit, and let's just talk about this. I've never really talked about my childhood, before Shaklee. And as you were telling me and reminding me of some things recently, I thought, well, this is something we definitely want to share with our listeners. So let's just kind of talk about, what our health was like before we found these products. And it wasn't like you weren't into nutrition. You had a nutrition degree and you tried supplements all the time, but it was money back guarantee, right? So they said, hey, try this. And so if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and share a little bit of that.
Well, before Shaklee, it sounds like we were really all falling apart. Mark was sick a lot. I've gone back through my journals, and he had like terrible flu or terrible sicknesses where he'd have like 105 temperature, 104 temperature for a couple of weeks, and then it would go away, and then a few months later it would start up again. And every year before Shaklee, it seemed like that was the case with Mark. I had all kinds of health problems. I was sick all the time. I had constant urinary infections. My hair was falling out. I had back pains and constipation, and I forget everything. I stuttered profusely. There were just a lot of things wrong with me. Ray had a heart condition, and this is the situation we were in before Shaklee came along, and we were taking a lot of vitamins. I kept doing a lot of research, especially with all these problems, and I knew that, they say you are what you eat, but you are what you eat and absorb, actually. But I knew that it had to. All the doctors I saw about the problems, we never got our money back when it didn't work. All the drugs, all the different products we took, whether it be drugs or whether it be vitamins, we never got our money back when it didn't work. And I was really searching for something. And that's when we were introduced to Shaklee by Ray's brother. And I listened to the presentation, and I just felt, oh my gosh, it just seemed like it was so much better. The clinical studies and the naturalness, the purity of the products, and the money back guarantee. And I already had a house full of vitamins because we were taking all kinds of things. And I thought, well, for the money back guarantee, what do I have to lose? If it doesn't, I'll set, and I wanted to compare apples to apples. So I bought the same things that I was already taking. Mm-hmm. So all of us were taking protein, we were taking a multiple, we were taking calcium, we were taking vitamin C, we were taking a bunch of things, less of them. And we just said, I wasn't going to throw them out, but I set them aside, bought Shaklee. We just switched brands. Unbelievable. Mark was allergic to everything, except the control. When they did the tests on him, the control came out, but everything else was. And anyway, his allergies almost totally went away. All my problems, I think, were like 95% gone. Ray's cholesterol dropped 100 points in a month and a half. We fell in love with these products.
And that was taking a Ford physical in January. A month later, taking it again, and it dropped over 100 points.
And that was just by switching to Shaklee. So needless to say, I fell in love with Shaklee, and I was not looking at a business, but I just felt like it was important for me to help my friends. When people would complain about their health, I felt like I would be a rotten friend if I didn't share that this might be something that could help them. And that's how we got involved in all this. But what a profound difference it made in Mark's health and our health. And of course, Danny's been on Shaklee since before he was even born, because Mark and Christy were on Shaklee. And then our other son used to have these temper tantrums, and we got him on the Shaklee and the B vitamins and everything, and he just calmed down. It was like amazing. We loved the products.
one thing that my dad has always said throughout the year that I think is a perfect way to sum up kind of everything that we believe in. And he says that you don't have a headache because of the lack of Advil. Yeah. And so there's a root cause to every health issue that you have. I
That's right.
believe that. And I feel so blessed to be raised in this household where we have all this natural, healthy foods and supplements and like all these things just to maintain health throughout the years. And this is definitely a company that I'm going to continue to use when I have kids and raise them kind of in the same household as me, because I love the fact that I can honestly say that I have not been sick for more than a day in my entire life. I have all the energy I need to go throughout my entire day, and I don't drink any energy drinks, coffee. I don't take any medicine. And how many other kids my age can you say that about? I mean, I just,
it's a rarity.
It truly is.
And we can say the same thing for his sister Delana.
Yeah.
Both my children have never been symptomatic for more than a day or so, and it's always because as soon as we see the symptoms start coming on, we hit them with the immune system boosters, you know, and within the first day of doing that, usually they get a grip and everything's, you know, back to normal. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Okay. The difference between immune system regulators and then the immune system boosters. But really before we get into that, let's just spend just a couple minutes on what the difference between Shaklee is and every other nutritional company out there. First of all, we know that Shaklee has been the first of so many things over the last 65 years, you know, as far as first multivitamin, first biodegradable cleaning product, first products in space that they use, that the transglobal flight around the Earth was fueled by Shaklee. The Daedalus project, a man-pedaled airplane across the Aegean Sea, 72 miles, pedaling an airplane. Never been done before. It was finally accomplished. Mount Everest expedition, first to the top without supplemental oxygen. And the list just keeps going on and on. But besides just all their amazing accomplishment over the decades, what really sets them apart? That's what I want you to kind of touch on.
Okay. Well, okay. First of all, Shaklee's been around for, actually the products have been around over 100 years, because Dr. Shaklee was developing these products while he was still a chiropractor. And in 1915, he developed the first multiple. He was the first one to isolate protein, to come out with a protein drink. I mean, we have a lot of firsts, but the difference is that Shaklee products are pure, they're proven. I mean, that's the basic thing. The purity. I know that we buy organic food because we don't like all the pesticides and the GMOs and all that kind of stuff that's causing so many different health problems. So when we go to the grocery store, we buy organic. When we buy things, we're looking for that organic, certified organic label. And Shaklee products go way beyond that. Because even organic means that it's a way of farming. When they farm, they're not using the artificial chemicals and they're not using the GMOs. But that doesn't mean that they aren't still contaminated, because you could have the water they're irrigating with, you could have the air that has contaminants in it that would cause contaminants. I know at one point Shaklee was looking for this, you know, source of green tea, and they found what they thought would be the most pure, because it was this area had never been exposed to any kind of, you know, chemicals or whatever. Everything had always been farmed naturally from the beginning, and they found it was the most toxic, because the water that was coming down that they used to irrigate from many miles away was so contaminated that when they were irrigating, they were contaminating the product. So see, Shaklee goes way beyond just the organic. They make sure that every batch is pure. And sometimes there has to be back orders because they can't get a pure enough raw materials. The other thing is the clinical studies, and to be able to prove that these products actually work. So when you're looking for a vitamin, you want to make sure that it's going to work, for one thing, and that would be through the clinical studies. Now, there's a lot of bogus clinical studies out there. They just hire a lab to say, yeah, this stuff is great. But Shaklee's clinical study, I mean, they have a lot of them in peer-reviewed medical journals. So
In our catalog.
they're really great. The catalogs, and Shaklee does have information on all these different clinical studies. But the one I want to talk about today is the landmark study. And this was a study done by the University of California, Berkeley, and it was on vitamin usage. And it was a long-term study. I guess it was a 20-year study. And they wanted to see, can you take vitamins for too long? Could it be bad? Could you take too many vitamins? Could it be bad for you? You know, and they had this running test for 20 years. And they found the upshot is that the people that were on vitamins were worse off in many areas than the people that were not. And so Roger Barnett, our owner, saw that preliminary result, and he went to them and said, would you do a third group, a group of Shaklee people? We have a lot of people that have been on these products, you know, for over 20 years. And they said, whatever results we get will be in a peer-reviewed journal. It could be a PR nightmare for you. Are you sure you want to do this? We're going to report whatever we find. And Roger says, do it. I believe in this. Well, the upshots were amazing. And I can show you the Shaklee group did better than either of the other two groups. And I'm going to share a screen here. Several of these studies done. The first one was 2007, a landmark study of Shaklee supplement users, other brand users, and no supplement users. In every single category, Shaklee was better. You can see this list. The risk of diabetes in Shaklee people was 52% less than the other groups. Heart attacks, congestive heart, stroke, emphysema, triglycerides, cholesterol, C-reactive, all of these things were way, way, way better, which I think is amazing. And there was like another study done, no, these show two different studies, but there was one done that the telomere study also. And you can see that no supplement users, diseases were the most. And then you have the supplement users, they did a little bit better, but the Shaklee users were way, way better. Now, telomeres are the protective cap at the end of a chromosome, and that protects your cells. And as we get older, they get smaller and smaller. The Shaklee people have much longer telomeres. But this is a quote from Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn. The Shaklee population is remarkably healthier than the general population, as shown in two studies, the landmark study on long-term nutritional supplement users and the telomere study. That's Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, 2009 Nobel Prize winner in medicine. So, I mean, to me, that is amazing. But in every single case, that the Shaklee people were better off than either of the other two groups. So what Roger Barnett said, well, what are these people taking? And there are about 10 different things. So instead of having to buy 10 different bottles of stuff, and plus the astronauts were up in space, and they were using Shaklee, and so it was easy to have like a strip. So he put together what's called Vitalizer, and it's a strip, and the strip has 6 different things in it, but it's giving you all those nutrients. It's probably the best thing for your immune system and for a basic foundation for everybody, because you're getting the multiple vitamins, all the different all kind of extra antioxidants, extra vitamin D, your omega-3 fatty acids, your probiotics. I mean, you're getting everything that you need for a good basic foundation, and so that's our top selling product is Vitalizer.
I would say since our kids were probably maybe 8 or 9 or something like that, we started switching them from the kids multivitamin and the chewable stuff into that Vitalizer strip too. So that's been a part of their daily regimen, and of course of my daily regimen for, as long as we can remember. And again, I look at every morning, I got a handful of vitamins. So look, just like you guys and like so many people watching, I want to be ultra healthy. So it takes a lot. And so I look at that handful of vitamins every morning, and I grab my protein shake because I know the proteins, vitamins, and minerals is what my cells need, raw materials to be able to replace and build itself. And then I'll go and I'll walk over to the kitchen and I look out the window, and every day I'm like, thank you, Lord, for what my body needs to thrive today. And now the rest of the day, I'm going to try to eat clean and avoid toxins, but thank you for my life insurance. This is my life insurance. And it's funny, but I've been saying that for over 30 years at least, every morning as I take it. And it's like, it's a ritual, but it's the truth. I mean, this is the foundation. It's like, I feel so secure that if I had to just eat chips and bread the rest of the day, or drink water, that I know that I'm not deprived of the nutrients that my body really does need to thrive. It's whole food in the best form, absorbed in just minutes, and then utilized, right? It's not what you eat, it's what you absorb and utilize, like you said,
Right.
like you said earlier. So, we find that by having that foundational background, we have our hormone and our immune system regulators, all in check. Okay. And so it's helping keep the parts of our body that regulate that immune response. It's like a reflex. Okay. And when an invader comes in, it needs to be quick to identify it and react and do what it needs to do with it, and not be like, well, I'm working on this thing over here. Oh gosh, everybody's getting in under the fence. We got to stop that leak over there. No, we need to be fully armed and ready and shielded and ready to protect the things that enter our body, And so we love having that security and that foundation. And so we talked about the strip, which is like your basic building blocks. We talked about, protein, not really that much, but you want a good, protein that's an isolate that's going to be able to be absorbed, really well and maintain balanced blood sugar. Just, again, we need certain amino acids, and then we use the ones we can make ourselves. We have 26 amino acids total, and we literally make 200,000 proteins with that. So what are we making? We're making what your body says it needs. What does it need? Well, it depends on what you're putting in it. It's like, if you're treating your body bad, you're going to need to create a whole bunch of different types of proteins to break down the bad. If you treat your body good, you're going to thrive, in a whole different language, basically. And so, so many people suffer for so many years with their health issues, and they've just been missing certain key nutrients for them to be able to build those building blocks, And so, nutrition plays such an important role in everybody's life. And a lot of people think it really doesn't matter because they don't notice a difference. If I took my vitamin one day and didn't take it the next day and took it the next day, it's like, does it really matter? And it's like, it does. You got 100 trillion cells that are replacing themselves all the time. You better have your supply shops full and the shelves full to what people, what we need to get to build those cells. It's not going to just miraculously appear out of thin air. So let's shift gears a little bit and go into more of like the immune boosters. And so the difference between a regulator and a booster, a regulator is kind of what it means. It's regulating immune function, hormone response, pH in your body, digestive issues, blood flow issues, the thicknesses of your blood. All of these things are regulators. When we have a threat that we identify, something's not right, I don't feel good, I'm feeling a little whatever. An immune system booster is what we're giving. It's like throwing a whole nother army in on top of your own army to help you fight this battle. And so we have, one of my favorites is Formula I, okay, for immunity. And this one has literally been clinically proven to build T helper cells in the body. Okay, that's a good first line of defense, helping your body produce a lot more white blood cells. So this is a product that whenever we start feeling symptomatic, I'll literally give it to my kids or my wife or myself. I'll take 3 of them every 3 hours. And by the end of the day, we're all back to normal. Okay, and so that's a really strong immune response. We had a regulator that we forgot to talk about, and that's the Interferon.
Yeah.
And so will you talk about that for a moment?
Sure. Interferon is an amazing product. Back in the 1950s, this doctor in Japan, Dr. Kojima, he discovered interferon. And interferon is something in your cell that your cells produce naturally if you're exposed to invaders, bacteria, virus, whatever. When you're exposed to things, the cells are supposed to produce interferon. And what it is like your special army, like Mark talked about. It tells it pulls in the troops to go fight the bad guys, and it tells the other cells to put up your shields, we're being invaded. So it's really, really important to keep you healthy, especially during times when you're being invaded and you're exposed to stuff. And so of course right away medical science came out with a synthetic interferon. As we get older, the body's not producing the interferon the way it should. And some people just normally don't produce it as well as others. Some people have better immune systems than others. But But anyway, medical science came out with a synthetic interferon. But the only thing that there's, and it's still used today for cancer therapy and AIDS and things like that. But the bad side effect of all drugs have side effects, and the side effect is that it just makes you sick. I mean, you feel terrible when you take it, so you're not going to do it on a daily basis to keep you healthy. So Dr. Kojima spent 40 years, it's 40 years, working and trying to find a natural way to get your cells to produce their own interferon. It's kind of like boosting your cells to produce this interferon. And he came up with this formula that is amazing. Well, Roger Barnett, our owner, hired him, bought the worldwide rights to this product. So the only place in the world you can get this product is through Shaklee Corporation. It is an amazing product. It's something that you take every day because it keeps your cells on its tippy toes, so it's ready. It's always ready. So if we are invaded, it goes to work immediately. And it's something that it just keeps your body ready for the invaders, so they can get out there and fight them. It's an amazing product. Whereas like certain things that Shaklee has, like Defend and Resist, which is the echinacea, that's something you would take if you get sick. Like if you start feeling symptoms, you can take it. But this Nutriferon you take every day. Now Mark mentioned Formula One. I love that product. And it has a bunch of vitamins and minerals in it. And people say, well, I mean, they've always known that these certain vitamins and minerals build your immune system. But when you put it together in one capsule, they kind of destroy each other. And Shaklee found a way to keep them viable so that they don't destroy each other. So all these important things, all these different things that are needed to boost the T cells are in that one capsule. It's amazing.
Awesome. And then the plop one that we put in there.
Oh yeah, the vitalized immunity. That's great. Plop is his.
It's orange.
It's orange.
And so that's like loaded with vitamin C and echinacea and other immunity boosters. So somebody asked just to define immunity. Your immune system is one of the 11 regulatory systems in the body. Sorry. That regulates invaders, okay? Helps keep the playing field clean. And so whenever, it could be a pathogen, but it could also be a heavy metal, or it could be a toxin that's just not supposed to be there. So that immune response literally has 6 different phases involved with it. And the first phase is it'll identify and grab it and deposit something somewhere. And just so it can't run around the body and keep causing havoc. It then will inflame that area and dilute it, because the solution to pollution is dilution. And then it uses all that fluid to flush it. So in a healthy instance, if your immune system is functioning great, an invader comes in, I grab it, I kill it, I wall it off, I flush it out, okay? And that's wonderful. But your immune system is always working on the biggest threat that's going on now first, because it's prioritizing. But in doing that, sometimes, like we mentioned before, a lot of other things can kind of get on the wrong side of the fence and sneak in. And once it impregnates a cell, now it's cloaked from the immune system. It doesn't see it anymore. It's hiding inside one of your cells. And it's going to run around, damage the inside of the cell until it takes the identity of that cell away. And so by having a strong immune response, you're keeping your fences strong, you're keeping a lot of guards on the fence, and everything that's entering is being dealt with accordingly immediately. Okay, if you're sick and your immune system and you're very low energy, you're getting invaders coming in it's like nobody's guarding the gates, right? And so too much bad stuff leads to illness and to dysregulation in our body. And so all of these immune boosters are building that response to keep the fence is tight. Nobody's sneaking in, okay? Nobody's getting in access to areas they shouldn't be, okay? That's the immune response function, is to keep things, at bay that way. And so we did Formula I, we did the immunity complex, the Shaklee DR, you briefly mentioned that. That's a blend of echinacea and many other nutrients and so forth.
That's something you only take when you're getting sick, and you can't take it all the time. You take
you
it
take it for about 14 days, otherwise it's going to start killing off the good bacteria and stuff. And so again, it's just for an initial response to feeling hence being a booster as well. We mentioned Alfalfa and Vitamin C. That was the original ones before we had these all these amazing products. And I'm just going to tell a story because
Tell about the green dragon.
before Shaklee, right when we first got into Shaklee, she mentioned I used to have lots of flu type symptoms and fevers and illnesses and so forth. And so I'd miss school, and which was a good thing. It was bad being sick, but I was happy to miss some school, going to Catholic school and all of that. But I remember clearly that they'd be like, okay, we got this immune drink. And she would take some apple juice and put protein in it, and then take 10 vitamin C and 10 alfalfa and blend it all together. And it was this big green drink, and she called it the Green Dragon. And it didn't taste that great, but I forced it down. But the worst part about it was I always got better, like within 10 or 15 minutes, and then I had to go to school. So it's bad enough feeling bad, but then when you have to go to school, because all of a sudden they can turn it around on you just like that. So it was a love-hate relationship with the whole Green Dragon thing. But now we have these other amazing products that, make it super easy, and they're far more powerful. The one thing we didn't mention was Vivix. We did mention the telomeres and the longevity and all of that, but I think it would be a disservice to not mention Vivix, because again, it's one of those unique products that you're only going to find in Shaklee. It's the resveratrol. It's like drinking 300 glasses of red wine, the healthy part of the wine that you want to help regulate your blood and heart, but it's also anti-inflammatory. It also is immune boosting as well. And so that's another one of those foundational staple products that we all do every single day.
Right.
Do you want to mention something about that?
Yeah, I wanted to mention about the Vivix, because that's such an important part for people that have heart disease. When I had my first,
for everybody, but
I had 2 heart attacks, one at 37 and one at 40. And when my first one, I lost the lower left part of my heart was dead. It wasn't really, the corpuscles weren't there. And then when Vivix came out, years later, I started taking it. And then at one of the conventions, a gal came up to me and said, "You've had heart disease, right?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Are you taking Vivix?" And I said, "Yes." And said, "How many do you take?" I said, "I took a tablespoon every morning." And she said, "You need to take that twice a day." So I figured, well, all right. Talked to Susie about it, and I started taking it twice a day. About 8 months later, I went to my cardiologist, did a thallium stress test, and he says, I need to call, I want you to come in the office, bring your wife. So I figured, oh my gosh, now what's going on? And they said, "I can't believe what's going on, but there is life. Your corpuscles are starting to grow, or the blood vessels are starting to grow into the lower part of your heart." So I really try to help anybody that has any kind of a heart disease. At least that's my experience. At least get on that product, because I value the importance of it.
But resveratrol is anti-aging, but they say red wine is good for you because it's got resveratrol, but you'd have to drink like 100 glasses of red wine in a night, to get as much resveratrol as you needed. And Vivix goes even, and so with Vivix, you're getting all that in one little or 2 little capsules, or like 1 little teaspoon, either way. And anyway, it's you can do it very easily, but it goes beyond that, because there's a certain grape that has like an extra chromosome that is way more powerful, and that's what Shaklee is using. And Roger actually bought out all the
Exclusive rights.
Exclusive rights to all that particular grape in the world. So we have the raw materials that other people don't have. So
Good for macular degeneration.
it's good for your people that have lost their eyesight, have gotten eyesight back.
Macular degeneration.
Macular degeneration has been turned. I mean, these are just testimonies, but it's an amazing product. We take it every day, and I do it for immune reasons, and Ray does it for his heart reasons. But I think everybody needs it.
Yeah, awesome. So we do that as well. So is there any other thing relating to immunity that you think we forgot to touch on?
I think to start out with, the basic immune package is the Vitalizer, and then the protein drink. And the protein drink, of course, is absorbed so quickly. It's a balanced protein. It's so pure. it takes away the hunger too. I mean, I used to take protein all the time, but I'd still be hungry afterwards. And this kind of helps that. But it can be used, I mean, we use it just for a basic foundation, but it can be used as part of a weight loss program also. But the Vitalizer and the protein drinks, they are, to me, just essential. And then beyond that, at this time, I would absolutely add the Interferon.
Yeah, and the Interferon is something that I absolutely have been so passionate about, that you know, it builds that immunity. Like she says, it releases interferon. Now my cells can communicate to the neighboring cells, and if this cell gets damaged, it already told the neighboring cells how it got damaged, so they can adapt and not follow the same fate as that first cell. And so because I'm so passionate about immunity and all of that, when both of my children were born and they would be breastfeeding, we would literally grind up the Interferon, put it in a little formula, and have a little tiny hose going down to her breast. So they were getting breast milk and Interferon, because I wanted them to have that extra on top of all the wonderful antibodies they were getting from mom's immunity. I wanted to make sure that they were getting that Interferon, and that set the stage for an amazing 20 years of the life now these kids have had, 18 and 20 years old, where they've never been subjected to colds and sicknesses. And so we keep their immune system strong. That's like the shields that I feel so confident in making sure that they've always had. And then, of course, once they got a little older, we switched them to that Vitalizer strip. And so, you know, if they do nothing else, they'll just do that. Usually they do that with a few extra, you know, things that we want. Because again, this is our life insurance, as I mentioned before. It's not really an option if you should take supplements or not. You absolutely should, because I don't know a person in the world that can guarantee they're getting all the nutrients their body needs in the right variety and mixture and doses of things in just our diet alone. I know a lot of people, you know, eat all the organic and eat all plant-based and vegetarian and try to do all of that to accomplish that. But just the pesticides, the chemicals, the glyphosate, the stuff that you're exposed to anyway is interfering with you really getting all of the absorption out of that food. So it's great to eat clean, or don't get me wrong on that, but you have to step it up. It has to be more than that. If you have more reserve in your system and in your immunity, when stressful times come, you're going to be able to combat that stress and roll right through it like water off a duck, like it's no big deal, okay? But if you're compromised and you're weak and now stress comes, oh my goodness, you know, it's going to be much harder to save the ship, okay, and to repair it than it is to keep it sailing, okay? And so we all have to take a little bit more pride in how we take care of ourselves, and tell yourself that you're the most important one, right? And if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you effectively help and serve and take care of others? So whether you've been using these products for a long time, or whether it's the first time you've heard about it, maybe you're those people that think, I don't need nutrients, I get them all from my food, and it doesn't really matter because I don't get sick and I feel fine. You know what? It's going to catch up to you. There's more and more cases of childhood cancer and cancer at every single age from too many toxins, too much lack of an immune response, okay? And things are getting out of control. We're seeing disease hit every single generation, every single demographic, and especially things like this outbreak that we're having, this pandemic that's going on worldwide. It's not, yes, certain people are dying faster than other people, but it's affecting everybody. And we don't even know what it's going to do on the younger generation for their children, or for, you know, what it's going to do years from now because they were exposed to it at this young age. And so we can't be waiting for the miracle cure out there to fix everything. We have to take what we know and the wisdom and the knowledge that we have about whole food supplements and what our bodies need to stay and to thrive and survive. And we need to take responsibility for our own health like we've never done before. And I think this is a time when we can all come together as a community and say, you know what, we do have to put our health as number one. And me making sure that I'm eating organic and getting my supplements is more important than that trip I wanted to take down the road that, you know, I wouldn't be able to afford to do if I was doing all of this. Okay. It's like health is your number one priority. And if you don't maintain it and you lose it, nothing else really matters. And I used to believe, because you guys taught me, you know, your physical health is your number one asset in life. And then going through my disability and not being able to walk and all of that, I could have lived with that, you know, and that was okay, but it was the mental stress of the physical disability that was way worse. So your mental health is so important, because without that, you can't serve and function and really help and be on purpose. You can't do a lot of things. And so how do we protect our mental health? Well, we have to keep the chemistry right in our body. We have to keep the hormones regulated right. We have to keep things balanced. We have to have a consistent, good, even supply of proteins, vitamins, and minerals that we know are being assimilated and absorbed. And when we can accomplish that, we can overcome any condition. In fact, I truly believe that 95% of all the conditions out there that are chronic can be changed with just changing their diet. Okay, so, you know, when we say changing your diet, it's more than just your food. It's putting the nutrients and the supplements to supplement that diet, to give you that boost, to get you there stronger, and to keep you healthy. And after all, that's why we're even here, right? We want to educate, inform, teach people how to take responsibility for their life, and then to do something about it and take action to make it serious. This is serious. Our health is so serious, and so it's so important to each and every one of us. And as we look around and see the chaos going on right now, it's really important that we don't sacrifice the material that we need to build these building blocks. You know, before the accident, we had a really nice lifestyle, had a house, a lot of acres and a lot of nice things. And then after all of the stress and the traumas, and we dwindled down to, you know, living in a wheelchair in an apartment, and then struggling in the apartment. Okay. And so, but even at that time, I still took my Shaklee and I still ate organic. Because if I gave up on those two principles, there would be no way that I would make a healthier cell and ever be able to overcome and remodel this body and to be able to get to where we're at. So even in the times of great stress, it became more important and more paramount that I don't give up on the fuel, right? You know, you're not going to throw kerosene in your jet. You know, you're going to put jet fuel in that jet. And if you do anything less than that, don't expect it to perform the way you want it to. And so we're here to thrive and perform, right? And so take care of yourself, do the right things, take this information you've learned today and commit to doing something consistent for a change. And then if you don't have your little medicine cabinet of what you need to have on hand when your family starts getting symptomatic, get it, okay? It's just that easy. You are the first line of defense, not the doctor that's going to prescribe a drug. That comes after you try the natural things and it's just not working. Then there's a time and a place for all of that. But too often we think as a society, oh, I have a little cough. Maybe not right now. A little cough could be severe because it could be leading into this virus. But, you know, typically we would have a little sniffle or something and think, oh my goodness, I'm going to run to the doctor, rather than thinking, hey, let's have some natural juices. Let's get some good food. Let's maybe do a day of cleansing, and, you know, let's just do things to boost immunity naturally. Most of the people don't think that way. They just run for the over-the-counter drug or to their doctor to give them something because they're afraid that the sniffle is not going to stop. Like Danny said earlier, we don't get headaches because we have a lack of aspirin, okay? We get headaches because something's off chemistry-wise. Let's fix the cause of our health challenges and not just keep masking symptoms and thinking that they're going to eventually go away. That's the definition of insanity. Do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So you've heard it, okay? This is about the nutrition, and the nutrition is the building blocks. And thank you, Mom and Dad, for coming on the show with me today. And I so appreciate all the knowledge and the discipline you instilled in me at a young age to be able to appreciate why you did it, why you shared the information with me, and why you were so strict about it, because we've been able to take that now, and with our children, they never really knew the other way. So for me, I had some junk food before Shaklee, and afterwards it was gone. With my children, they've never really got to appreciate the junk food, unless of course it was gluten-free, you know, but you know, moderation in it, all of that. But, you know, my kids, they don't fight us on it. They get it. They take responsibility themselves. They go down every morning, make their shake, take their vitamins, and I'm so proud of them, you know, that they get it. And it's not like, you know, me, you're not leaving the kitchen table until you take that. I spent too many times when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, waiting all day at that kitchen table, being stubborn. Now wanting to swallow.
You got that right.
My kids are like, I don't have time for that. If all I got to do is do this and I'm gone, they do it. You know, it's so easy. So, again, thank you. I love you guys so much. Thank you for, you know, all.
Well, we're very, very proud of you, Mark. What you have done You made us very, very proud.
And you have a question here under Q&A, so I'm just letting you know to follow up with that.
Okay, you can, if you want, looking for the products and so forth, obviously you can come back to the Good News Doctor's website. We have a lot of those on there, but if anybody in the past has ever talked to you about Shaklee, contact them. You know, I don't want this to be anything but sharing information with everybody and allowing you to go access it and get on the products. So we're always here to help and serve the people that we love. So with that, I hope each and every one of you have an amazing day, and tune in tomorrow when the topic for tomorrow is going to be the air we breathe. So thank you guys, and God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.